Okay, everybody, here we go. Quirin versus Brian Fred. This was a match that I'm excited to see. It was going to be it's an Endor Ops versus a Diplo match. Normally, this is a match that the Endor Ops player actually has like a little bit of an advantage over, being that they can threaten an early beatdown with like in space, maybe get rid of the Tantive. It makes things really hard for the Diplo player to go out and to win. Okay, Quirin going again with you cannot hide forever, immobilization points, Imperial Rest Order, and Secret Plans, and Combat Response. Combat Response kind of a normal start for this deck. Diplo going with Strike Planning V, Walkling, and I must be allowed to speak. Normal, I think those are the normal starts. I do see normally we can see the squadron assignment start is here a little bit, but I think that the normal start that Brian is going with is kind of the better start. Like it's a little bit slower, but at the same time, you hold space a lot stronger. Okay, got a little banter between the two guys. I like that. Okay, here we go. B. Fred knows this deck really well. He's going to play Effect Mine V. I think that was that's a revert worthy. I don't think that was the shield he meant to play. Brian, not a player who is accustomed to playing on Gemp all the time, but he has definitely done really well with the Outrider Cup so far. Yep, we have an oops from Brian Fred. So we got our first revert of the game. Thank you to Quirin for allowing that. There's the grabber from B. Fred. And again, Quirin went out and used the mobilization points combo to get himself an effect. I believe it was the second grabber. Quirin activates, pulls his grabber. Again, with the the Imperial Rest Order and Secret Plans combo. Probably going to see a lot of docking bays for Quirin in this game. So, Fred points out, better not blow him out with combat cards. I would be severely surprised if Quirin was playing any combat cards in his deck. But, I mean, these European players like to play some interesting stuff, so it might be possible. Okay, Quirin going to use his Imperial Restorer combo. Going to go get a docking bay. There's the Mustafar Private Platform, which is a docking bay. One of Kendall's favorite docking bays out there. And there's the Slave 1. So right off the bat, that could spell not good things for Brian Fred. So Slave 1 and Boba Fett going down to Tatooine. That's at least one Destiny there right now. And Admiral Ozzel as well. No Imperial Shield, Empire Endor Shield on the table just yet. So starting with those three cards is kind of big if you're Quirin. There's the Endor Shield. Again, he knew it was in there when he searched for a docking bay. Likely going to see a battle. There's Rendalee. So I'm sorry, he didn't pull an effect. He pulled his system. He did pull Rendalee. Might see him throw away the mobilization points soon. There is Imperial Detention that stops the I must be allowed to speak from being pulled, like taking the use pile pulls at like the Dune Sea, Mos Eisley, the Cantina. So I don't know if B. Fred moved to Jabba's Palace or if he's still going with like the traditional Mos Eisley and the Cantina for this Diplo. Brian pulls Obi-Wan Kenobi V and Senator Mon Mothma from his deck with the Strike Planning, normal pulls. Glad to see that the design committee created Strike Planning to help out with Diplo. And Brian Fred's going to play Careful Planning, but he misses. He draws a 0. So he doesn't activate any force or anything. So that's kind of rough if you're B. Fred. Interesting to see the careful planning in this deck. Like, you do figure that the dark. Oh, that's not good. So on the first Destiny, Quirin hits a 0 and then draws a 3. So that's only going to get rid of R2D2 and C3PO down to the Dune C. So that kind of hurts for Quirin. B-Fred likes what he's seeing right now. No surprise there. R2D2 and C3PO go down to the Dune Sea with the stolen data tapes. So B-Fred's probably going to want to leave Tatooine alone at this point. Like, I can easily foresee just abandoning Tatooine, moving it off there if he's got some sort of pilot or something, just to... I mean, it is giving up a drain of 2, but you definitely want to get it out of Dodge. Yeah, Quirin points out not killing the ship, and with the free LB1 kind of hurts, and I will agree with you. Like, that's why the strike planning was made, so that way, if you lose the Tanev on turn 1, like we just saw, it really, you're not necessarily in a terrible situation. Okay, so here we go with Brian Fred's turn. Quirin does not save any force. Again, we just saw him fight against the Tanev with B-Fred only losing, or only moving the R2-D2 and C-3PO down to the Dune Sea. Brian activates. Probably going to see Obi-Wan come down, maybe. There, Quirin pulls a Grand Admiral Thrawn V. He is using the AI. I'm really glad to see that. I personally like it when players use AIs, because the graphics team just does so much, and I really enjoy seeing all the AIs and stuff that they pull. So there's all around for B-Fred from the objective. Brian looking for the farm with I must be allowed to speak. Again, he should know it's in there. Yep, there's the farm. No AI for the farm, though. I think there is one. I know we have one on physical form, but I don't know if it's on GEP yet. Center him on Mothma. That's going to pull Brian the Chandrilla. Yep, he's going to deploy Chandrilla. So now he has the ability to get away from Tatooine and not have to go to Endor. And Obi-Wan to the Dune Sea for free. Probably going to see the R2-D2 and C-3PO shuttle up. And then I want to say B-Fred's just going to move the Tanev. We might see Obi-Wan stick around on Tatooine. I'm not sure. Yep, battle plan. So that way, once he moves away from Tatooine, Quirin has to pay to drain for 2. I don't hate that. Like paying to drain for 2 on your turn 2 is pretty good for the dark side player. I know that he didn't get rid of the Tanev, but I mean, you got to think that Ken was still in a good situation. Okay, so B-Fred moves both characters from the Dune Sea up to the Tanev. I want to say that, well, there's a lot of forfeit value, which is up there. That's nice for him. Quirin only with 7 cards in hand. Brian draws up to 10. Let's see. Is he going to save the 1 force, or is he going to pick it up? I kind of like leaving the force just for the for a rebel barrier or something. Okay, so he does draw it, as he points out that this draw has been insane on a frowny face. Okay, so here we go with Quirin's turn. He's getting 12 force. I do expect him to drain for 2 up in space. And then we'll see what he does. I kind of hope to see him get out some docking bays, because like having the Executor docking bay still in his deck kind of hurts. Okay, there's the drain for 2 at Tatooine. Brian's going to lose Escape Pod, and we're doomed from hand. And another Escape Pod, and we're doomed from hand. Okay. Playing 2 of those. Not terrible play. Like, not a terrible card. Mostly want to see it against walkers or TTO, but definitely a good card. And we have a wow from Quirin, because Quirin uses his Imperial Rest Order and Secret Plans to look for a docking bay and doesn't have a single one. Brian gets a free verify. That's not good if you're Quirin. Like, Quirin says, guess how many docking bays are in the force pile? Well, I know at least of one, because he he used in the battle, he hit on the Executor docking bay for a drain of, or for a destiny of 0. So that's definitely hurting. But let's see how he what he does here on his turn. Again, currently Team USA is up 3-2 on Team Europe. So in the 2024 slash in the Outrider Cup 3. Sorry, I know that it shows the 2024 Outrider Cup. I needed to switch that, so just glad I got that up there now. Realize that. Quirin playing Dark Time for the Rebellion to activate 1. Interesting. He drew a bunch of force, saving himself 2, it looks like. So he's got 14 in hand. Don't think Brian's going to pay to drain at Chandrilla. Not necessarily the best spot for him to drain at this point. Probably just going to want to find another ship or something, move from Chandrilla to Alderaan. Or we'll see. Okay, there's the Jabba's Palace entrance cavern. It is a drain +1 site for light side. So, I mean, it gives you only 1 icon, but the more important thing is it gives you the ability to deploy one of those characters that can pull you a use file card with I must be allowed to speak. Okay, let's see what Brian wants to do. He's only got a 9-card hand, but he's got 15 in his in his force pile here. Brian thinking about what he wants. Again, he's Jabba's Palace entrance cavern came out from his deck. So his diplomatic mission to Alderaan will allow him to pull any Tatooine site. So again, I think at this point Brian's going to want to deliver the stolen data tapes, pull any card out of his reserve deck that he wants, and I think that would be a good turn for him overall. But depending on what is in his hand here, I mean, he might have some options. Okay. As he throws down Commander Nara to the Dune Sea. Interesting. Again, the Dune Sea is a site where the dark side player has to have ability of 6 or more to draw Battle Destiny. But characters such as P-59 get around that as they have that magical draw if unable to otherwise game text. So Brian says, I need a revert here. I'm not going to draw the card. I'm assuming from the Commander Nara. So, I mean, normally with Commander Nara, you can draw a card off the top of your reserve deck if you so choose. Brian saying that he needs a revert. I'm not sure what the revert is for. But I guess he didn't want... Oh, excuse me. I guess he didn't want to get Nara onto the table just yet. Okay, so there's a Corellian Corvette going down from his hand. Pretty good card here, just because he can use the Corellian Corvette, ship dock from the Tantive to the Corvette, move the Corvette to Alderaan, and then that would deliver the plans, and then that's 1 step away from him being flipped. I do expect him to do that this turn, but we shall see. Okay. Nara going on to the Tantive as a pilot. So yeah, I don't think there were any pilots on the Tantive before. So I actually don't hate that move. I mean, he still can actually draw the card if he so well chooses, but he decided not to. As we see the Corellian Corvette dock up with the Tantive, there goes the R2-D2 and C-3PO over to the generic Corellian Corvette. No other characters are going to follow. I got no problem with that. I mean, it's kind of hard. I don't think there's any dark side ships that deploy to non-battleground systems. I could be wrong. I mean, but we shall see. As we see, Brian does deliver the plans, does take a card out of his reserve deck. Again, there's so many cards I think he could be choosing here. Does he take a character and start establishing himself on ground? Does he take something to um, be able to move the Tantive over to Tatooine and start blocking that drain of 2? Brian says all of the good cards. That's both a good and a bad thing. Like, you kind of want good cards in your force pile so you can draw them, but at the same time, like, having your choice of one card in your reserve deck, it's never a bad thing. Okay, so Brian does just draw, saving himself 2. Doesn't do anything about that drain of 2 at Tatooine just yet. As Quirin activates, he activates 13, so he's going to have 15 to work with this turn. Again, I do expect to see him drain here. And then let's see what he's going to do this turn. So, yep, there's the drain of 2 at Tatooine. Brian taking a second, thinking about what he wants to lose here. There goes careful planning from his hand. And a Hojix, interesting. And his Hojix is from his hand? I mean, there's a reason why Beef Red is playing. I'm not. Like, I don't think I'm good enough just to, like, say, okay, there goes my Hojix because to a drain. Okay, and there's 2 more docking bays coming out for Quirin. He's got the Coruscant docking bay and the Executor docking bay. And Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, going down to the farm. I mean, that's not a terrible location for him to go to. And Quirin's just going to draw. So that's, like, I know Vader's good against bad characters or characters with low ability. But at the same time, like, if Beef Red has something to stop a choke here, that could be pretty bad. Like, I hope Quirin's got some sort of evasion, whether it's like an Imperial Barrier or something. Like, I can't, like, you gotta think he might has a Gick here just in case. Because if Beef Red can spread with a lot of, like, low ability characters and up the total battle damage, that could be really bad for Quirin. Okay, here we go. Beef Red moves past his control phase into his deploy phase after activating 16. There's the Jabba's Palace antechamber. So it does look like he moved away from the normal Diplo of playing with Mos Eisley in the Cantina to a more Jabba's Palace centric one. Admiral Raddus going down to Tantive. Okay, Owen and Baru going down to the farm for free. Brian throwing down 2 characters for free this turn. Well, technically 3 if you want to get into semantics. Luke Skywalker, Rebel Scout, going down as well. Pretty good character. I mean, he's good against weapons and stuff, but against Vader, who just chokes you, he's not... I mean, you still need a 7 to choke him, but... it'd be easier to choke Owen and Baru here. Beef Red currently has 3 characters, as we see Leia Organa V going down. So, yep, that will flip him to the 7 side of the objective and give him a use pile pool. So he currently has 4 locations for the 7 side of his objective. So his total battle destiny would be +4. So as long as he doesn't draw a 0, I think he would crack Vader's immunity. And that's the real power of this Diplo deck. And like I said, Beef Red has played Diplo for as long as I can remember. Like, if you see him at an event, it's either like Diplo or Yoda communing or something that Mike Kessling tells him to play because, I mean, Mike's a pretty good player. And there's Chewbacca Protector going down with Leia for only 2 force. Gets him another use pile pool. So all he's going to have left is his Lando Calrissian pool. So, interesting to see. Takes 3 cards from his use pile this turn. After using 11. So, yep, that's about right. I mean, he's got Admiral Raddus, Commander Nara, Obi-Wan Kenobi and a Senator Mon Mothma all on the Tantive. He's sitting in a pretty good spot here. Doesn't necessarily need to battle. I mean, it would allow him to retrieve a force if he wins, but well, let's see what he's going to do. He's still in his deploy phase. He's got 7 force left. As he's taking his good old time. Not a bad move. I mean, this is, again, kind of an important match. I mean, if you're paying attention to the Outrider Cup, currently Team USA is up 3-2. Corellian Corvette moves over. Owen Abreu moves over as well. Doubt we're going to see Chewie move over. We might see somebody ship dock to the Corellian Corvette. No, B-Fred's just going to draw some cards. I mean, that's a solid turn. You flip. You establish yourself for battle plan. You give yourself a nice drain 2 location. Yeah, he's not in a bad situation. Then again, Quirin's about to drain for 2 at Tatooine. So Quirin activates. He's got 16. There's the drain for 2 that he does not have to pay for at this point. And I think that's the thing. Like, if I was B-Fred, I would have made it so that Quirin at least had to maybe pay to drain. Okay, there goes It's a Hit off the top of the reserve deck. Lando Calrissian Scoundrel from his hand. Interesting. I mean, we might see him just like attempt to retrieve it if he wins a battle or something. Quirin using his objective to look for ominous rumors or establish secret base. He misses again. Saying wow in the chat. I don't know if it's for those 2 cards or something else that he's looking for. Man, this has not been a good Destiny game. I'm assuming that Quirin has low Destiny cards in his deck at this point. I mean, he's only got 8 cards left in his reserve deck, but we shall see. Vader kind of trapped right now at the farm, staring down his son, who became a Jedi Knight. Okay, looking for a docking base. Doesn't hit it on a docking bay again, but shuffles up his deck for something. Quirin points out it's the weirdest game I've played in a while for sure. That says something. Like, getting 2 Battle Destiny against a Tantive that only has the R2-D2 and C-3PO on it, and drawing a 3 and a 0 really hurts. I don't know if that's weird, but definitely hurts. Because you would think that he would have been able to possibly draw higher than a 7. But I don't know, like, maybe he's going to look back and say, you know, I could have exchanged a card with Boba Fett, got the short range fighter or the Imperial Command, and then added another Battle Destiny or added substituted my maneuver for one of those destinies. But I don't know. Right now, Quirin's sitting at 28 in life, 14 in hand, B-Fred 11 in hand, and 18 in deck. So that's the one. That's one of those things about this Diplo deck is it does put a lot of cards on the table. So definitely can see that just by Brian has 9 characters on the table to Quirin's 3. So we'll see what Quirin's going to do here. Wouldn't mind reinforcing with Vader. As we see P-59 go down in front of Owen and Baru. Interesting fact. So while you can use dodge to subtract from the Destiny, from the shot, you cannot react away with them because they're technically 2 characters. I've learned that the hard way at least once. Like, it happened to me once, and then from that point forward, I'm just like, Definitely need to remember that. I forget where it was. I don't know if that was in person or not. As we see Grand Admiral Thrawn V going down in front of Owen and Brew as well. Give yourself some more forfeit. He has an 8 in power to 4 currently. And that's all Quirin's going to do. Interesting. As we see, do or do not hit the table for B. Fred. I don't know if that tells me that Quirin is running some sack, or if he's just. I don't know if we saw. I don't know if B. Fred saw any sack or what, or if he just wants to play it in as a precaution. Brian activates down to 2. Quirin plays the drop shield, so maybe he likes what's in his hand, just in case there's a Grimtosh. Okay, drain of 1 at Chandrilla. There goes the Emperor's Personal Shuttle from hand. And drain of 2 at the Entrance Cavern. Okay, there goes Emperor Palpatine and a Cold Feet. Okay. Cold Feet might come into play this matchup just because, I mean, Diplo might run Old Ben, and I believe that Cold Feet does stop Old Ben. Could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen somebody play Old Ben. Okay, Captain Ramus Antilles going down onto the Tantive, so he comes down from 1 force. Adds a little bit of power to the Tantive, adds some immunity to attrition, as we see General Aaron Kraken going down to the docking bay. Interesting. I might have gone to the bunker just to suspend Endor Shield, but Brian looks at the top card of Quirin's deck. No, he looks at the top card of the force pile. Okay, Ray going on to the Tantive as well. Going to allow him another use pile pool. That's such a good card. Like, I like Ray and all, but so powerful. Brian takes a card out, and there's Ahsoka Tano going down in front of Vader. So Luke and Ahsoka in front of Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, just like in the movies. And this tells me that we might see a battle this turn. I mean, currently, Brian is out damaging Quirin. But if you battle, I want to say Brian should be able to outpower Quirin. He's getting 1, 2, 3, 4. No, he's just going to move and ship dock the Tantive with the Corellian Corvette. Interesting. Might see like Nara move over. I'm a little confused as why he didn't fight. I mean, and he moves Ray. Interesting. I mean, why didn't you just deploy her? Okay, so Mon Moth, or Senator Mon Mothma moves over as well. R2 goes over to the Tantive. Interesting. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, if you were going to do that anyways, I mean, if he would have put Ray down there, it might have saved him a force, but if he was going to move all the other characters over, I mean, that kind of makes sense then. The Tana moves over in front of the Boba Fett and the Slave One. So, right now, Quirin's not doing any damage to Brian. And Brian is still flipped. Diplo's not the hardest objective to flip back. As long as you gotta keep the if you make the light side player not control a battleground system or a battleground site, then they flip back. So if you had like another starship here moving for, just drop them in front of the Curling Corvette, I believe Brian would have flipped back. Okay, here we go with Quirin's turn. He's got a lot of force up there. Like, he hasn't activated anything yet, and he saved 10 last turn. Depending on what he activates, he could have quite a bit to work with. Let's see. Brian says I needed to move one more. And Quirin, being the nice guy that he is, is going to allow the revert. Allow B to allow Brian to move one more character to either the Tanev or the Carillion Corvette or something. And what stinks is, okay, so he doesn't do it. Oh, he moves. Okay, so he's going to move Owen and Baru from the Dune Sea to the Moisture Farm. Oh, okay. I see what he's doing there. Grand Admiral Thrawn's going to use one to follow. Okay, text that not a lot of people use, but definitely comes into play sometimes. So P-59 sitting there by himself at the Dune Sea. I still like if Quirin battles here. I like it for Brian Fred, because if Brian chokes Owen and Baru, they give Luke a power bonus. But we'll see what Quirin's going to do. He's still just got into his activate phase. He's got 9 force right now. That's before he activates, so he should have quite a bit of force to work with this turn. Again, Quirin's sitting at 25 in life, 12 in hand. Brian's sitting at 17 in life, 8 in hand. So Quirin still has more cards to work with in his life force in his hand at this point. So we'll see what happens. Oh, good. Again, now Quirin is doing a point of damage with the drain at the Dune Sea with P-59. He activates 9, saving 7. Interesting. Okay, there's the drain of 1 at the Dune Sea. Brian's going to lose Might of the Republic off the top. Okay, so he likes his 8-card hand. Quirin, again, looking for a card with his objective in his control phase. Misses, so I want to say this tells me he might not be playing Ominous Rivers and Established Secret Base, but I mean, I don't know, because I haven't seen the deck list at this point. I mean, he's probably going to want to do something about General Kraken. Might want to do something against the lone Curling Corvette. I mean, Senator Mon Mothma and Rey have a bunch of forfeit value. And Brian still does get a Destiny up there as Rey is the pilot. But not sure. Going to Quirin's deploy phase. As we see him use Force Push. He's gonna use it to exchange a card, or to put 2 cards into his force pile to take 1 out. Pretty good card. I mean, it's been around for a while, so there's a reason why it survived the reset that happened back in oh gosh, I forget when the reset happened, but it's been a while. And we did just see a combo version of it get made, a budget version, which So depending on the deck, it might actually be a little bit better. Being able to have a used portion or a used option is kind of good. Like, oh, your opponent misses on a draw or an upload. Okay, I'm just going to play this interrupt, make them put a interrupt out of play. I mean, force push in itself is still good because it gives you the option to exclude characters. Like, say, I don't know, I like using it to exclude a character. Like, I swing in battle, play, I hit your character, you miss me, you miss my character, or I've got the force field, and then, oh, I'm going to play force push to exclude your character and my character. Oh, the battle's over. Cool. That's always good. Okay, here we go. First strike after he deploys Lord Maul with lightsaber down into the Endor docking bay. Brian's going to play aim high. No surprise there. As Quirin's going to be able to retrieve a force, and there's the Phantom Menace. I mean, General Kraken does get a Destiny here. The Phantom Menace doesn't really do much because there's no Jedi there, but I think that's just going to be useful to put a 7 back into the deck. Okay, we see Quirin initiate a fight. Yep, he's going to retrieve the force push that we just saw him use. As Brian loses narrow escape from his hand. Maul takes a swing at Kraken, who only has defense value of 2 here. Draws a 4, that's going to hit. Doesn't matter what the next Destiny is. As he does draw a 4 and a 3, so yep, Kraken's going to be hit. More importantly, though, Brian is getting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, plus 5 to his total battle destiny. Okay, Quirin's going to take Moff Tarkin into hand with Sith Fury. Not a bad card. I mean, adds a destiny with certain characters. Draws on his own. Quirin draws a 5. It's going to become a 6 with Lord Maul with lightsaber. So he's got a 13. Brian's sitting at least an 8, depending on what he draws next. So he's going to draw himself an 8. That's going to give him... He is going to have some overflow here. I believe it's only of 2, though. Maul is going to go to the lost pile. The Phantom Menace is going to go used. But again, you're causing 2 points of damage to Beef Red, unless, again, he has a 3rd Hojix. I mean, I don't think I'd put it past Beef Red. Nope, he's going to... Okay, there goes Owen Brew. Owes him 1 more card. And then he owes him Kraken. And there goes Quite a Mercenary off the top. And there goes Kraken to the battle. I mean... I think I would have rather come down with somebody other than Maul. But if you had to, you had to. Quirin checking out what the rest of his 4 cards in his reserve deck are with his 2nd Endor Shield pool. Does not hit on an Admiral, so won't see any other Admirals come down. Well, we won't see him come down this turn because he's in his battle phase, but let's see what he's going to do here. I mean, he's got... Brian's going to be doing... is threatening 3 points of damage. 2 points coming from the drain at the entrance cavern. Then another one, obviously, at Chandrilla. I don't think you're going to see a fight up in space. So Vader and Thrawn move over away from Ahsoka and Luke. Interesting. As the Slave One moves back over to Endor. And Quirin's going to draw. Like, based on pawn position, I actually like what Beef Red's got going on right now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drains of 5 this turn. Okay, Brian's going to retrieve a card. He's going to retrieve that General Kraken. by putting Walkling out of play. Pays the 1. Ooh, bounce combo from Quirin. That's going to make B-Fred lose a card here. No grab from B-Fred. He doesn't have the 4, so he loses just General Kraken. Okay. Don't know if he was just trying to get, if he was specifically wanted to get Kraken back, but I don't know. Like, his ability 2 character that draws Destiny on his own is not bad. General, so you can use like Rebel leadership to add a Destiny or limit with him, so it's not a bad character. Okay, Kieran's gonna go use Masterful Move and Endor Celebrate or Endor Occupation to grab his Gick. And we see Kieran leave 1 force left. He's got 23 in Life Force, 12 in hand. Brian's got 7 in hand and 14 in Life Force. Huh. But again, Brian's threatening 5 points of damage this turn. So we're going to see Kieran lose a little bit of force. Activates 12, saving 2. Like, I don't know where you can fight this turn. Like, maybe in space? But I don't know with what. Okay, there's drain of 1 at Chandrilla. There goes Emperor Palpatine from hand. Drain of 2 at the entrance cavern. There goes Grand Moff Tarkin from hand. And Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith as well. Loses some characters here. Drain for 1 at the Moisture Farm. Loses Dark Time for the Rebellion and Tarkin's Orders. And drain for 1 at Tatooine. Loses Comp Scan Detection. Okay. That might be an important card. I don't know if Brian's playing Jin. Have her come down, block, drain at the dude C, or I'm not sure. Okay, there's the Tydirian going to Tatooine. Interesting. Han Solo Optimistic General for Brian as a pilot. So now the Tydirian is fully immune to attrition and I believe draws 2 Destiny. And now he reveals the top 2 card of his deck to take 1 into hand, and then the other one, I just believe, goes back onto his deck. He's going to take the Antilles maneuver and puts Old Ben on top of the deck. Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. I still don't think Brian can go really chase after the Slave 1 at this point. Unless he's going to move the Tantive. But we shall see. Yep, he is going to move the Tantive. So the Tydirian is by itself. The Tantive's over at Endor. It cost him 1. Okay. He moves the Tydirian to Chandrilla. And moves the Corvette back over to Tatooine. Interesting. So again, Kieran's only going to be doing 1 point of damage. Brian saves 3. He's got a 6-card hand, one of which we know is Antilles Maneuver. Quirin is in his activate phase. Let's see what he's going to do this turn. So he starts turn 6. I mean, so far you got to think that, like, this game has gone pretty much Brian's way. Like, he's in a good spot. He's doing some damage. He was able to survive the Slave 1, Ozzel, Boba Fett going down to Tatooine turn 1, which was just, like, definitely the important part of the game early on. Haven't really seen a lot of fights from either player outside of the first one. Let's see, Quirin taking some time, thinking about what he wants to do. 9 card hand. He can activate up to 16. I mean, that would only save him with 4 cards left in his reserve deck. So, I mean, I don't think Brian's getting 2 cards. Yeah, I don't think he's drawing 2 Destiny with Attentive, where Quirin is drawing 2 Destiny with the Slave 1. So, and he's only down by power 1, so it's not too much. Like, I know there's a lot of forfeit up there, but it wouldn't be too crazy of an option maybe to fight with the Slave 1. Oh yeah, we did see another fight because of the Maul versus Kraken. Hence the first strike. Okay, so he's going to activate 14, saving 6. Interesting. Drain of 1 at the Dune Sea. There goes Old Ben off the top. And Brian should have known what that card is. But even though Brian's only getting 1 Destiny, his total battle Destiny is 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 5 still. Okay. Darth Maul with lightsaber going down to in front of Leia and Chewbacca for 7 force. Okay. Yeah, gotta think that Brian's got some sort of evasion, narrow escape, dodge, barrier even. He saves 3. I mean, it is an interior sight, so he could use like Blast the Door Kid. Gosh, there's so much like light side evasion. It's crazy. Nothing yet though. Okay, so we go into Quirin's battle phase. Okay, here we go. Darth Maul, and we have a battle between Darth Maul with lightsaber, Leia Organa, and Chewbacca Protector. Quirin's going to retrieve 1. He gets that comm scale detection back. Brian's going to have to lose 1. Let's see. Again, he's only got life force of 12 with 6 cards in hand. Not the best if you're Brian. And he's about to lose 1, so 12, 6, 18. So it's going to bring him down to 17 hand in life right after he loses the card here. And I kind of think that this is what Quirin needs to do. He needs to make good and clean battles with his characters, especially when he has the first strikeout. Like, Brian probably is going to win this fight. But the Quirin at this point needs to start getting rid of some of these lesser ability characters like Leia, like Chewbacca. Owen and Beru would be a good one to get rid of too, because then. But I think his best path to winning would be making it so that Brian doesn't control locations. And if he was able to somehow flip, that'd be really good. Brian loses a careful planning, and there's a no escape. So that's going to allow him to move Leia and Chewbacca away from the fight. Quirin will grab the no escape. Yeah, all he needed was 1 character of ability greater than 2 there to move his characters away. So, yep, Leia runs over to the ancient chamber. Chewie's probably going to follow. I mean, Leia draws Destiny on her own. No, she's going to move over in front of Vader, P-59, and Admiral Thrawn. Interesting. Brian now has no force saved. I mean, Vader, P-59, and Thrawn can't initiate because Chewie was just in the last battle, so I guess he's safe there for a second. Yeah, B-Fred has all the evasion when it comes to for Diplo. Okay, Kieran's going to move from Endor back over to Tatooine. Kieran's just going to draw some cards at this point. Okay. Brian's doing 1, 2, 3, 4 points of damage this turn. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. So he's slowly getting the loss piles back down to about even. I mean, after Quirin is drained here, he's going to have 13 loss pile to Brian's 14, but Brian still only has 5 cards in his hand. Okay, Quirin saves 1, and we'll pass turn over to Brian, who activates 10, saving 1. And again, Walkling is out of play, so he can't use that to retrieve. Haven't seen a Tatooine celebration just any yet, so there goes Masterful Move and Endorse Occupation. Drain for 1 at the Antechamber. There goes Darth Tyrannus off from hand. Interesting. Drain for 1 at the Moisture Farm. I feel like Darth Tyrannus is an underutilized character. I really like that card. Quirin thinking about what he wants to lose to the drain here. So far, he's lost both cards from hand. There goes Atlanta Dobreed and Sacrifice to the drain, and then there's the drain of 1 at Endor. As he loses off the top and loses an Imperial Command. So now Quirin with 8 in life, or 8 in hand, 18 in life force. Brian sitting at 11 in life force, 5 in hand. So Quirin still has this, I'd say, a nice little advantage. He's up by 11 right now. Problem is, he's only doing like 1 point of damage to Brian's like 4 a turn. So let's see if what Quirin, or I'm sorry, we're on Brian Fred's turn. So let's see what Brian can do to increase that damage. Again, thank you for tuning into the Outrider Cup, Outrider Cup 3 event. Again, Team USA won the first one. Team Europe won the second one when it was tied up after 12 games. And then we saw the captain versus captain fight, and that was kind of cool. And Team USA is currently up 3-2 right now over Team Europe, with Brian Fred facing off against Quirin. And Captain Harrison Dolo going down to the Corellian Corps event. Brian initiates. We have another fight. First one from Brian Fred, as he'll retrieve 1 with first strike. He'll retrieve that careful planning. And there goes a Gek from Quirin's hand. Quirin going to use Boba Fett. He's going to switch a card from his hand with one of the cards in his reserve deck. Might be going to go get it like an Imperial Command here. Maybe like a short range fighter combo. Not sure what else he would want to get. Maybe we'll see something crazy like a control set for Sun or something. Bounce the Terra back to Brian's hand. That'd be crazy. I know people like to play it in TTO, but I don't know like what. I'm not really sure what Quirin's playing with this Endor Ops deck. Okay, so we got a Battle Destiny. Brian just draws 1 Destiny instead of 3. Interesting. Now again, he's getting +1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And wow. So his total Battle Destiny is is 10. Ray, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Ray plus the 6. Okay, my math is wrong. Quirin draws a total Battle Destiny of 9. He hits on the short range fighter and Sith Fury, but more importantly, 1, Brian's going to win that fight, and 2, there go both characters for Quirin from space. So Boba Fett's going to go to the Lost Pile, and then Ozzel as well. That's kind of big. As we see Brian lose Ray, there goes Ozzel. Center Alt Mon Mothma goes, and Boba Fett goes. So Yeah, that's kind of big. Like right now Kieran's gonna have to pay to drink for one. Brian's free to do whatever he wants in space, and as long as he got like some sort of evasion or something on the ground, I mean, he's sitting in a really good spot. Yep, Chewie shuttles up to the to the Krillin Corvette. Sorry, and I think that's all you might want to do. Like, there's no sense in moving Leia, no sense in moving Owen Brew or Luke or Ahsoka. And he's only got two force left, so yeah, I think he's in a good spot. Does not draw any cards though, so he's got 13 to life force 4 in hand. Kieran again with 18 to life force 7 in hand. So again, Kieran still has a slight advantage on cards left, but Brian's sitting really good right now, being that he controls pretty much all the space. Okay, Kieran's going to activate down to activates 14. Sorry, saving himself 3 in his reserve deck. Okay, Dr. Evazan and Ponda Bubba going down to the Jabba's Palace antechamber with a Kylo Ren with lightsaber. Okay, that's a pretty good card because you can initiate the fight. Ooh, Brian plays Antilles maneuver, so if he does want to fight here, he's going to have to pay an additional force. I think Kieran's going to be fine with that. I mean, you battle, you retrieve 1, Brian loses 1. You swing at Leia, potentially hit her, do an extra point of damage, and then you just send her lost. So, I mean, that's not bad. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you're still getting +5. Okay, yep. Kieran does initiate. He'll retrieve 1. He's going to retrieve Boba Fett. Brian still has to lose 1. He's going to lose Luke off the top. Okay, not a terrible card to lose there. As Kylo swings at Leia, draws a 4, so that should definitely be enough to hit Leia. He saved 3, so I don't know if he's going to want to continue with it or just try and overpower her. Okay, draws an 8 for Weapon Destiny. Again, that's going to cause, send her forfeit down to 0 and cause an extra point of ping damage here. He loses a Rebel Leadership from hand. Not a terrible card to lose there. And it kind of doesn't look like, he does not go for the Dr. Evazan and Ponda Bamba. Instead, he's going to draw Destiny, draws a 5, bringing his total up to 17. Brian getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 5. He's going to leave at least 8 here and draws a 3, so 11. So 11 to 17. Brian does not win that fight. But Kieran has to lose both characters. That's insane. When your opponent draws a 3 for Battle Destiny, you have to lose both characters. That's rough. Okay, so both Ponda Baba and Kylo go to the Lost Valley, and Brian has the Hojix. Are you kidding me? Is he playing 3? Because we saw him lose 2 earlier in the game. And Kieran can't really do anything about that. Use the Force, moves Thrawn over to the antechamber. So now Brian's going to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4 points of damage. And draws some cards, not saving any force. Brian only has 1 card in hand. I wonder what that 1 card is. Kieran sitting at 24 handed life. Brian sitting at 14. Okay, there's a drain of 1 at Chandrilla. Loses force field from hand. I mean, right now the biggest problem is all those locations on Tatooine are all drain of 1s, and that's it. There goes column scan detection to the drain at the farm. So, I mean, both players are only doing like drains of 1, drain of 1, drain of 1. The funny thing, like the thing that's really good for Brian is that he doesn't have to pay where Quirin would have to pay. Okay, so Quirin's going to lose force field, comm scan detection, a Death Star to docking bay, and dark time for the Rebellion V. So he's sitting at 24 after those drains. Brian did activate 12, saving 1, so I'm not really sure where you would want to fight. Unless he's got like, no, you can't use neighboring leads. I'm not sure what Brian's doing here. Okay, so he goes to his, passes deploys, he doesn't move, so he moves the Quirin Corvette from Tatooine over to Endor. I wouldn't hate shuttling some characters down just to give yourself another drain location. I mean, especially with like Vader and Maul both on the table. I mean, it does only cost 1 force to move from Endor or from Tatooine over to Endor. Guess Brian reverts again. Okay. Nope, he's not going to move. Yeah, he's just going to draw. Okay, so yeah, he didn't move. He reverted, and it looks like he's just drawing some cards. As we see Brian go to 10 cards in life, 4 in hand, 9 in life, 5 in hand. So he's at 14 to Quirin's 20. Okay, Brian passes his turn. He saves 1 card in his reserve deck, 6 in his force pile, and 7 in his hand. Interesting. Quirin looks like, okay, so Quirin does activate everything. I see him drain for 2. Like, depending on what he's got in his hand, I mean, I don't think he's got any way of like moving the Slave 1 from Tatooine to Rendley. Like, he just wants to subs himself back up in space. Okay, Brian's going to exchange a card or 2 cards in hand with 1 in his lost pile. Okay, Obi-Wan again sitting over there on that the Tantive 4. There goes an Old Ben and a flat casual for it's a hit. Okay, that's going to give him the ability to cancel one of those drains if Quirin decides he wants to pay 3 to drain for 1. And then Quirin or Beefray can probably just keep cycling that eventually. He's going to use the Tidarian to retrieve 1 with the. He's going to retrieve that flat casual. He does have to use 1 because Imperial Rest Order and Secret Plans is on the table. So he gets a Destiny 6 card back out of his deck. Yep. Drain for 1 at the Entrance Cavern after Quirin decides he wants to pay to drain. There's the It's a Hit. And we already know that the Narrow Escape is sitting on Quirin's grabber, so he can't do anything about that, not grabbing it. Drain for 1 at the Dune Sea. Brian's going to lose a Rebel Leadership from his hand. And there's the Emperor's personal shuttle going down to Rendley. Okay, that's going to get him some space. That's going to establish him back up in space. So, yeah, as long as like I like that. Like, you got to think Brian's got nothing left in terms of starships, and as long as he. Yeah, Charlie points out in the chat, Diplo really makes you sweat bullets with how many cards it puts on the table. Yeah, that's 100% true. Okay, so Quirin's just going to deploy the personal shuttle, draw some cards, and pass turn. Brian plays a Rebel Leadership from his hand just to put a card back, it looks like. After he activates, so Interesting. Oh no, he does it after Kieran's turn, but before he activates, saves 9, or he activates everything, giving him 9 in his force pile. So again, we're not going to see a fight here. Drain for 1 at Chandrilla. There goes a surface defense V. Drains for 1 at the farm. There goes the coarse and rough and irritating. Sand card off the top from hand. Drains for 1 at Tatooine. There goes another comm scan detection. And drain for 1 at Endor. Quirin loses a Mara Jade with lightsaber. Okay. Again, I kind of want to see Brian, like I said, just move some characters down from the Tantive. Like, I know Quirin has 10 left in his life force, 5 in hand, but are you really that afraid of him coming down with, like, Mara's on the table, Mara's in the lost pile, Kylo's in the lost pile, P-59, Vader, Maul, they're all on table. Like, I can't think of any character, maybe like a Dooku, that really you'd be afraid of. As we see, we go into, okay, I was going to say, we go into Brian's draw phase, and we get another revert. Yeah, I think with Brian just doing 4 points of damage now to Quirin's 2, I mean, it's still a really close game. Quirin's at 15 in life in hand. Brian's at 13 life in hand. Okay, he moves the Tydirian and the Corellian Corvette over, so now that kind of blocks the Emperor's shuttle from moving. Like, you don't just want to leave it at Rendley facing down a fully immune, draws 2 Battle Destiny Tydirian, and you really can't move it in front of the Corellian Corvette either, unless you got like something to put onto it. Like, if you're able to get like a Emperor, that would be pretty good. But yeah, Quirin really needed to flip Brian back at this game. Tilly's maneuver, just psycho card back. Brian's sitting at 6 in life, 7 in hand, to Quirin's 15 total. Brian draws another card. Jeez. Guess he doesn't like what he's looking at in his hand or something, I don't know. It's one of the nice things about Brian Freddy. He's like, everything is like some sort of emote. Like, he, not a quiet guy, but you gotta love him. Brian looking, okay, so he's using Might of the Republic to go get a Coruscant card, Senator Sierra Say Teare, Masameda. Again, probably just to put a card back, so he gets himself a Destiny 5. Okay, there's a drain of 1 at the entrance cavern. Brian loses an Old Ben from his hand. Drain for 1 at the Dune Sea. Loses the Fly Casual he retrieved a couple turns ago. Also from his hand. As Boba Fett hits the Slave 1 symbol of fear. Okay. Comes down for 3 force there. Moff Tarkin onto the Emperor's personal shuttle. Okay. I think at this point you want to move the, I was going to say maybe move the Slave 1 to Endor. Maybe move the shuttle to Alderaan just so you can get some more damage in. Okay, or you can do this. Thrawn moves over to the antechamber. Okay, so now Kieran's actually threatening drains of 3 with Brian threatening drains of 3 as well. So the damage is still even. Right now, Brian's sitting at 11, Quirin's sitting at 13, so still a ridiculously close game. Like, I definitely think this game can go either way. Like, Brian definitely wants to start retrieving with his objective. Quirin does not want that to happen. As we are in Brian's turn. Let's see, he's sitting in his activate phase here. He's sitting at 16 minutes. Quirin's sitting at about 23, so I don't really think time's going to be an issue here. Ryan activates 3, saving 2. Maybe we'll see a fight. I mean, the Tidarian's only power 5 to the 11 up there in space. I mean, both players are getting 2 Destiny. I mean, the Emperor's Personal Shuttle has no immunity. The Slave 1 is immune less than 5, so maybe? Drains for 1 at Chandrilla. Quirin's going to lose a Sith Fury from his hand. Drains for 1 at the farm. There goes a short-range fighter, also from hand. Short-range fighter and Watch Your Back from hand. Drains for 1 at Tatooine. There goes a Maul Sith Infiltrator off the top. That would have been a good Destiny card. So Quirin right now sitting at 10 in life in hand. Brian's sitting at 11. So Brian actually has narrowed the field, the life force down. Like, he was down pretty big at one point, and now he's gotten to the point where he's actually ahead by 1. So win, lose, or draw, that's really good by Brian. As he checks out what cards are in his used pile, or I'm sorry, in his reserve deck. He should know what they are. I think they're 2 Destiny 5s. So if he's drawing 2 5s, that's going to make him 1, 2, 3, 4, 14. That's okay. That's pretty good. Brian does initiate with the Chidarian. He's going to retrieve the flat casual. Quirin has to lose a card. He'll lose Lord Maul with lightsaber off the top. Okay. Let's see. Any tricks or anything from either player? Nothing yet. Okay, here we go. Battle Destiny. Brian draws a 5 for his first one. Draws a 5. So if Brian actually wins this, he'll be able to retrieve another point of force, which after the retrieval from the first strike and then making Quirin lose 1, like, that's pretty good. Quirin draws an 8. I Have You Now for his first Destiny. He's going to bring up to... Okay, and he also draws 2 5s. That brings him up to 21. So Brian's down by 2. But again, Quirin's got 14 into attrition here. That's not good for Quirin. I think if you're Brian, you just peel 2. Like, and this is going to actually kick. This might kick Quirin out of space. Like, I think he's going to have to lose Boba Fett, Slave 1, and then Tarkin. With B. Fred only possibly is just, like I said, just keep the Tidarian around. Like, you're fully immune. You peel 2 cards. And your opponent's... wow, Quirin's just going to concede. So, Brian Fred takes this game after being down by a lot. Wow, what a game. So, well played, B Fred. Quirin, that was, like you said, it was a weird game. So, thanks everybody for watching. We'll definitely have some more Outrider Cup action going on. Make sure you guys tune in for the rest of the week. I think we got a game on like Friday. We got a game Saturday. So make sure you guys tune in. So take care, enjoy yourselves, and may the force be with you. Thank you.